In the heart of Nigeria, a quiet storm was brewing in the 1980s. It promised wealth, freedom, and a way out of the crushing poverty that gripped the nation. What began as a simple promise, "Give us your money and we will give you more," quickly spread across the country, from Calabar to Lagos, changing lives forever. But as quickly as it rose, it fell, leaving millions financially devastated. From Umana-Umana to Planwell, from Nospecto to the digital storm that was MMM, Ponzi schemes became a part of Nigeria's dark economic history. And it didn't end there. In the age of social media, the scams evolved. What was once a whisper became a global phenomenon. But why do Nigerians keep falling for it? Stick with me as we uncover the true origins of Ponzi schemes in Nigeria, from the first schemes that promised quick riches to the modern scams still deceiving thousands today. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. This is more than a history lesson, it's a warning and a journey to understand the truths behind the schemes that continues to ruin lives. Hit subscribe because the real story begins now. It begins with a promise, a whisper in the ear of someone desperate. Invest 10,000 naira today and you will receive 30,000 naira in just 2 weeks. No work, no stress, just magic. But behind that promise lies a trap. A Ponzi scheme isn't really an investment, it's a cycle of deception. A system where early investors are paid not from profits, but from the money brought in by new victims. At first, it works. People celebrate, word spreads, more join in, the early ones get paid, and they begin to advertise it like gospel. Suddenly, everyone's a testimony. But no one asks the critical question, where is the money really coming from? Because there's no product, no service, no actual business. It's a ticky time bomb. Once new investors stop joining, the money dries up, and then everything collapses. The founders vanish, the website disappears, and those at the bottom, those who came late, are left with nothing. So the next time someone says, "Bring 50,000 naira and get 150,000 naira by Friday," ask yourself, who is really paying you? And when the music stops, will you be the one left without a chair? Before MMM, before CBEX, before the word Ponzi ever entered the Nigerian vocabulary, there was Umana-Umana, and to the people of Uyo, it felt like divine favor had finally arrived. It was simple: bring your money, wait a few days, get back double, no questions asked. The man behind it, Obong Umana Okon Umana. To many, he was a miracle worker, to some, a messiah of the streets. Word spread like wildfire, from traders to civil servants. Even church groups began pooling funds to invest. It wasn't just about profit, it was about belonging to the wave of deliverance that was sweeping the town. But no one knew what was going on behind the curtain. There were no real investments, no returns, just a chain feeding itself. The more people joined, the faster the payout cycle. But once the inflow slowed, the system began to crack. By the end of 1994, the impossible happened. Umana-Umana stopped paying. Tens of thousands were left devastated. Some lost their entire savings, others their trust in the system forever. And Umana, he vanished into legend. Some say arrested, others claim he fled, but the damage was done. But this was only the beginning. Umana-Umana had unlocked a dangerous formula: quick money, mass belief, and viral word of mouth. And soon, other masterminds across Nigeria were taking notes. By the early 2000s, Nigeria had barely recovered from the economic instability of the 90s. Jobs were scarce, hopes even scarcer. But then came a name that promised not just income, but independence. Planwell wasn't just a Ponzi scheme, it was a movement: sleek branding, targeted marketing, office buildings, staff in uniforms. It looked and felt like a legitimate financial institution, and that was the genius of it. Planwell sold the illusion of structure. They had roles, ID cards, and even tax-like receipts. But in reality, it was just another carefully disguised money cycle. People sold land, borrowed from banks, emptied their children's school fees, all to invest in Planwell. Church groups and even civil service cooperatives were said to be involved. The returns were just too good to ignore. But as with every Ponzi scheme, the end always comes faster than expected. It collapsed in a storm of lawsuits, disappearances, and despair. Some say over 500,000 people were affected, entire families ruined. Planwell didn't just take people's money, it took their dignity, their belief in systems, and their hope. But perhaps, worst of all, it planted the seed that these schemes could succeed if you just enter early enough. And so, the culture of Ponzi in Nigeria began to take root, quietly, dangerously, and the next one would be even bigger. In a country where oil wealth had made a few people billionaires, Nospecto offered the masses a chance to finally own a piece of the black gold. But this wasn't oil drilling. Nospecto didn't own a rig. There were no refineries, no export channels. What it sold was a dream. But behind the spiritual testimonies and bank alerts was a massive web of fraud. Returns were paid from new investors, not oil profits. There were no oil blocks, just bold marketing and religious trust. By 2008, regulators moved in. The SEC froze billions in accounts. Lawsuits flew. Angry investors flooded courts. The payment stopped. Reality struck. It is estimated that over 100 billion naira was lost. Some say Nospecto was Nigeria's largest pre-MMM fraud, and yet, even after its fall, no one was truly held accountable. And while Nospecto's illusion faded, a new threat was quietly gaining ground. It didn't need oil or paperwork or even offices. All it needed was the internet. It arrived like a whisper, a strange Russian scheme with a simple promise: help a stranger today, and someone will help you tomorrow. MMM Nigeria didn't promise investment, it promised community, it promised trust. There were no offices, no CEOs, just websites, a referral link, and a guider. In 6 months, it spread faster than anything Nigeria had ever seen since the BlackBerry Messenger era. Social media turned MMM into a religion. WhatsApp groups, Telegram channels, even churches endorsed it. There were MMM theme songs, t-shirts, road shows, and testimonies every Sunday. What most people didn't know was that this was Sergei Mavrody's second act. He had already crashed Russia's economy in the 1990s with the original MMM. This time, he chose Africa. On December 13, 2016, just days before Christmas, MMM suspended operations. Millions of Nigerians, rich and poor, were locked out. No money, no help, just silence. It was digital warfare and a fragile economy. Billions disappeared, families broke, suicides were reported. But even in collapse, many refused to believe MMM was a scam. MMM wasn't just a scam, it was a symptom, a cry for survival in a system that offered few chances. But its legacy didn't end in 2016. In fact, it sparked a new era of copycats. Who knows another platform that is still paying? After the fall of MMM, millions were left financially broken, but psychologically addicted. For them, the thrill of fast money wasn't over, it was only beginning. They came by the dozens, each one a cheap clone of MMM, dressed in new language and fresher graphics. No offices, no regulations, just promises, referral codes, and your cash. Ultimate Cycler claimed you could make six figures with just four referrals. Twinkers used words like matrix payouts and peer-to-peer to mask its structure. It was the same game, different packaging. They crashed within weeks, but for everyone that died, two rose in its place. They didn't need longevity, just a few viral weeks to make millions. Loom didn't even bother with websites. It used WhatsApp groups and Instagram stories. You joined the cycle, paid someone at the center, and waited for your turn to loom to the top. It was the most low-tech Ponzi in history, yet thousands fell for it. Then came the age of crypto Ponzi. No more Naira cash. Now it was USDT, Binance, and fake arbitrage. COTPS, crypto over-the-counter platform, claimed to make daily profits by buying and selling crypto instantly. When it crashed in 2022, billions in USDT vanished. Nobody could trace the founders. Nobody got their money back. MBA Forex promised structured returns and even hired celebrities to endorse them. It collapsed too. CBEX followed shortly, the most recent of them. Another crypto scam with impossible daily returns. And guess what? It collapsed too.
aláàánú ẹ̀dá olùgbédìdí ẹ̀dá láǹfààní àti sunkún wá bá ẹ ṣùgbọ́n kò láǹfààní àti sunkún jáde àkèbá wa pàdé káyé wá tún rí bá.
Poverty, desperation, greed, and hope. These are the ingredients, and as long as they exist, Ponzi schemes will keep mutating because for millions of Nigerians, betting on fraud seems safer than trusting the system. Until we fix the system that creates desperation, the cycle continues. But education, awareness, and memory, those are our best defenses. Shine your eye, not be everything wey shine be gold. For over 30 years, Ponzi schemes have reinvented themselves in Nigeria, changing names, faces, formats, but the question remains, Can they ever be stopped? Ponzi schemes thrive where people are desperate, where jobs are scarce, where banks don't lend, and the system is slow to reward hard work. In many ways, Ponzi isn't the disease, it's the symptom. Until financial inclusion, job creation, and trust in institutions improve, scams will always find a way in. The Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) and EFCC have tried, but most schemes move faster than regulation. By the time they are flagged, they have disappeared. Some even use crypto and foreign domains to stay untouchable. It's like fighting smoke with a stick. But there's one tool that works, and it's right in your hand: education. When people understand the psychology, the patterns, the tricks, they become harder to fool. Ponzi thrives in silence, but when victims speak up, when communities unite, scammers lose power. It may never be perfect, but every time you choose to ask questions, to verify, to educate another, you chip away at the scam culture. Ponzi may always knock, but you don't have to open the door. From Umana-Umana to CBEX, the scam has evolved, but so can we. Be informed, be alert, and always shine your eye. If you found this documentary valuable, share it with someone you care about. Subscribe for more deep dives into Nigeria's untold stories. Leave a comment. Have you ever been approached by a Ponzi scheme?